Some of the other trucks might be able to do one or two things a little bit better than the Ranger, but they... Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video, we're going to be going over my final thoughts here on the 2021 Ford Tremor. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory, so let's get right into the video. Well, first off, we actually have to pop into the truck because I, of course, have to kind of move a little bit so it's in a better place for the video. Welcome to my life of having a million cars. Just kidding, I don't have that many. But always having to move them around. Done. So in this first part, I'm going to go over the interior and the exterior of the truck, and then we're going to take it out for a drive. So let's get into the interior and exterior part of the video. So first off, from an exterior perspective, I think the truck looks absolutely fantastic. I just love the look of Ford Rangers. I think they look great. The taillights, when they're on, I think those look great, which I'll pull up the key so you guys can see again what that looks like if you haven't watched the other videos in the series. Yeah, I love what the taillights look like. I definitely like the cool little kind of Tremor sticker there on the side, but I'm sure a lot of people that buy this are probably just going to remove it. I saw that happen on a lot of the Super Duties. People just immediately removed the stickers. The tires have been great. Again, if you haven't seen my off-road review, go watch that so you guys can see how capable this truck is. The tires get really good grip, and the shocks are great. You can't really see the back ones, but if we actually head over to the front, pop in here, you guys can see the front shocks. They've been great. Suspension's been really comfortable with the truck. Now the side steps have helped with getting in and out of the truck, but from the off-roading perspective, they did get in the way. This part right here definitely, just because it comes down a little bit, got in the way just slightly. But yeah, overall, from an exterior aesthetic perspective and just from the exterior perspective, I think it's really awesome. It's a good looking truck. The only thing, again, that's weird is this little red thing right here obviously isn't the same color, so it kind of looks funny that it's right next to each other. But yeah, exterior of the Tremor, I definitely love the look of it, and those daytime running lights are awesome. Always opening up all of the doors. I haven't used the back all that much. Now some people have made some comments that the back seats are small, but it's a mid-sized truck, and every single mid-sized truck has smaller back seats. These would be expected, but I love the fact that they are full leather. It's made things a little bit nicer for the reviewing and everything. Love the rubber floor mats. But again, I haven't used the back seats a ton because I don't really need them. And popping here into the front, getting out of the wind. I've loved these front seats. They're super comfortable. Definitely a high point of the Tremor is these front seats with the Alcantara in the center. Again, just really comfortable. Like the padding here is just great. When we were off-roading yesterday, I mean, we were in the truck for like 4 or 5 hours, and I didn't have any sort of, like, my back didn't feel weird or anything. Like, it was really comfortable. So that's been another high point. And then still love the auxiliary switches with the Tremor. Just I don't know, it's cool. I love the fact that it has it, and obviously it's nice from a practicality standpoint. We'll actually start her up so that you guys can see the rest of the stuff. We didn't use the drive modes very much on the off-road because we really didn't need them. The truck was fine with most of the stuff in two-wheel drive, and just with the stability control off. Didn't even have to use the off-road cruise control. Like, it has a bunch of really cool tech, but the truck is so easy to drive that you don't have to use half the tech. But I mean, the tech does make some of the driving a little bit easier. I did use the locker for some of the crawling, which was definitely nice. And then the steering wheel, definitely like this. I mean, I got good grip of it with the off-road. I've loved the adaptive cruise control with the truck. Used that quite a bit. The power folding mirror is always a nice little function. So it's just this button right here. You press that and they'll fold in. And then the blind spot monitoring, that has been awesome with the truck. Another little feature that it has. But yeah, that's pretty much the interior and exterior stuff. So let's take it out and drive it and kind of sum things up with my overall experience with the Tremor and what I really think of it. I'm always trying to change the scenery for the videos so you guys can have like a different thing to look at every single time I drive the vehicles around. So we're kind of driving in this area for now. But let's actually talk about the Ford Ranger Tremor and what it was like to live with. And I want to actually start with the fuel economy because I completely forgot to post the fuel economy I got on the off-road. We actually averaged over 13 miles per gallon on the off-road. And then if you guys remember from the interstate video, most of the time I was averaging low to mid 20s on the interstate. And then around town, I was averaging high teens to low 20s. And then when we did that canyon drive, I averaged over 20 miles per gallon up and down. Going up, it was about 10, it was like 10 or 11 miles per gallon, and then going down, it was a lot more. But from like a fuel economy standpoint, the Ranger actually does a really, really good job for being a truck. And it looks like one of my neighbors has the new TRX. Pretty interesting, but continuing along, let's talk about the rest of the stuff with the truck. So in terms of the handling and maneuvering around town and on the highway and all that, it's great. Being a mid-sized truck, it's really small, so it's just easy to drive around, and I've really liked that about the truck. Finding parking spaces is really easy. Fitting in the parking spaces is also really easy. Just everything with this truck has been great because of the size, and that's one of the things that's great about mid-sized trucks, is they're just so much easier to drive compared to full-size trucks, because the handling and maneuvering and everything is so much better, again, because of the size. And then aside from that, in terms of the stuff like the ride quality and the daily drivability and all that, the ride quality is great. The shocks definitely help absorb everything. Now, compared to a full-size truck, no, it doesn't drive as smooth, but compared to other mid-sized trucks, it definitely feels very smooth. And the shocks that this has are just amazing. So whenever you go over bumps and dips and all that kind of stuff, you don't really feel it. The truck just absorbs all of it. And again, that's, like I've said in a bunch of videos, that's the benefit of owning an off-road vehicle, is you definitely do get that out of it. And then in terms of the tire noise, it's actually not bad. Only having 32s, you really don't get a ton of noise that comes through into the cabin from the tires. Yes, you hear them, but like I said, it's very minimal, not bad whatsoever. And then aside from the tire noise and all that, what about kind of like the creature comforts on the interior? So right now I have the heated seat on because it's like 53 degrees outside, and I definitely love the feeling of that. And you guys, I already mentioned in the interior portion, I love the interior of this, and the seats are very comfortable to sit in for long periods of time. But just all of the creature comfort's great. The dual zone climate has come in handy quite a bit. The sound system, sadly, I cannot show you guys on video just because of copyright infringement issues, but it's actually really good. I've hooked up my phone and everything, been listening to some of my music on it, and it's a really good sound system, so you're covered from that aspect as well. You guys notice, like, half this time I only have to drive with one hand because the steering is so light and the truck is so easy to drive. It maneuvers so well that you really can just pretty much drive around with one hand all the time because it's that easy to drive. And now, aside from, I guess, like all of the city driving stuff, right? Again, if you haven't watched my off-road review, go watch it. Seriously, it's such a fun video for me to make. From an off-roading perspective, the truck did a really good job. It's very capable. From the high-speed trails, it had a ton of stability. And then on the jumping, it landed very soft. It was really controllable. It has enough power to actually get enough speed so you can actually jump it, which is nice. And then aside from the jumping, when we did the crawling and everything, the ground clearance was great. The side steps got in the way a little bit, but aside from that, it was really easy to drive through. And if you guys don't know, Dex that was with us, that was helping us out that day, he has a lifted Tacoma. His Tacoma's lifted 3 inches. And there was a lot of stuff that this truck was going through substantially better than his truck on the crawling sections, which, again, you'd expect his truck to do a little bit better because it had a 3-inch lift and 33s on it. But the Ranger Tremor is just so capable on the off-road. And I mean, it's an off-road package, so that's a huge part of the truck, and I guess its identity, whatever you want to call it. And it just knocks it out of the park. Ford's done such a good job with this truck. And I mean, obviously there's a lot of competition in this segment. So you're looking at the Jeep Gladiator Rubicon, but you're looking at like a base model Rubicon. You're going to be looking at the Tacoma TRD Pro. You're going to be looking at the Chevy Colorado ZR2, GMC Canyon AT4, and then the Nissan Frontier Pro 4X. Now, I'm just gonna, like, I haven't made any comparisons up to this point, but I am gonna make comparisons at this point because obviously if you're looking at this truck, you're probably looking at the other ones, and I'll just give you my honest opinion. So first off, the Ranger Tremor has a turbocharged 4-cylinder, which has been fantastic, and I definitely think that's a huge plus of this truck compared to the other ones, because all the other trucks, they're naturally aspirated, and so you lose a lot of power to elevation. We're at 4,500 feet, and when we were off-roading, we were at 5,000 feet, up to like 7,000 feet at some points. And the Tacoma, being naturally aspirated at that portion, was definitely not able to keep up with the Tremor. And so again, that's a huge plus with this truck compared to its competitors, is the fact that it's turbocharged. The 10-speed automatics is another huge plus. A lot of those trucks use kind of more old school transmissions, and so they don't shift as smooth as the Ranger, and you can't get as good fuel economy because it doesn't have as modern of a transmission. So that's another huge plus. And if we kind of just go down the list, let's start with the Colorado ZR2. That truck's really cool. And the problem with it though is it's pretty dated. I'm not saying it's a bad truck or anything like that, but it is definitely in need for a redesign, but it's still a really capable off-road truck. That one is probably the closest to the Tremor in terms of off-road capability. Definitely a crazy truck. But that one's just not nearly as modern feeling, and the creature comforts aren't necessarily as nice with that truck. Still a great truck. Go over to Tacoma TRD Pro. That truck's awesome, has really cool shocks, but you can't get one. Like, Toyota dealers just aren't allocated enough TRD Pros, and so it's near impossible to find one. And if you do find one, Toyota dealers are usually charging so much over MSRP that it's almost just doesn't make sense to buy the truck for what Toyota dealers are asking for them. And then if we go from Tacoma TRD Pro to the Jeep Gladiator, if you actually spec out a fully loaded Gladiator Rubicon, yes, it has front and rear locking, differential, all that kind of stuff, and it's got a sway bar disconnect, and so it has a little bit more capability, but you're talking about a fully loaded variant being $60,000, so significantly more expensive than the Tremor, so just completely different price range at that point. And then we go from the Gladiator to the Canyon AT4, and that one, it's okay, but that one needs a little bit more aggressive tires, and it's just not nearly as crazy. If I were to get like a Chevy variant, Colorado ZR2 is the way to go. And then if we finish things off with the Nissan Frontier, I can't really comment on it because the new Frontier is not out yet, so we'll have to see what the new Frontier Pro 4X is actually like. But yeah, I mean, it's just this truck, just compared to what you can get on the market right now, it's just a little bit more modern. Now, I hope it doesn't seem like I'm just bashing on the other brands. I'm not trying to do that. Like, they all make really good trucks. So I think that it'd be better if I kind of cap things off like this. If you're looking for a more modern mid-size truck with a modern transmission and a more modern engine that actually has decent power for a mid-size truck that's really capable on the off-road, that looks good on the outside, looks good on the inside, has nice creature comforts, then you should go, and it's also reasonably priced, right? This is kind of in the middle of the pack. Most mid-size trucks, if you're getting like a base model, you're in the $30,000 range, but realistically, most mid-size trucks that people are actually going to purchase, you're kind of like mid-30s to low 40s for an entry-level truck, and then you're kind of like middle of the line is going to be mid 40s to low 50s, and then for the crazy expensive ones, you're looking at over $60,000 nowadays. This is right in the middle at under $50,000 for a loaded up Ranger with crazy off-road capability, and so I think it's just a really good value. The other trucks just aren't as well-rounded as the Ranger is what I'm trying to say. They might have one or two things that might be a little bit better than the Ranger, but as a whole total package, the Ranger is just so well-rounded. And so if you're looking for a really well-rounded mid-size pickup truck, then I would definitely check out the Ranger Tremor.